I mean, I probably should have, but... Oh, wow, I can have my computer down here and you can't even see it.
Oh my god, it's like you can cheat with your notes.
Yeah.
All right, well, welcome to our live / this will be on our podcast too, so... Oh, I love how it alerts me that I started a live.
Yeah, what?
Okay, cool. Oh, Julia's on. Hello. Hello, our student is here. Yeah, I was just telling Alex I have the inability to be serious today, and I think it's because 420 is in the air. But I'm not really a weed smoker, so I didn't do it.
I would not be able to function.
I would get nothing done.
Same.
You had a fuzz in your eyelash.
No.
Julia says, my people. All right, so what we did is we did a live Q&A with our class, our Whole Beauty Educators Blueprint class.
And I think it was the best one we've ever had.
Yeah, it was a great live.
Yeah.
We talked about some really great, important stuff. And we forgot to push record. So we are recreating it here live for all of you. And then we're going to record it and put it up on the podcast later. So that we can just repurpose content,
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, at that live Q&A, we were talking about the different types of learners and how you can cater to each type when you are thinking about developing a training or a course or, getting into education in general. I think it's super important to understand that not everybody learns the same way that you do.
I feel like it's a very underrated thing.
Yeah, totally.
People don't think about it.
Well, so what brought it all up, this is what made us start thinking about it. Actually, it was edibles.
I think it was.
Happy 420. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I got stoned last night with Mike and we were talking about this. Okay, so what brought it up though was TikTok, stoner TikTok. And I saw these TikToks where this girl was talking about how she doesn't have like a narrative going on in her mind at all. So like at any one time, I am constantly talking to myself in my head. Like I'm always telling myself stuff like, I don't know, like I just constantly have a narrative going in my head. And
I feel like I have a friend. Like maybe that sounds creepy.
That's what people were saying in the comments. They were like, no, I love my head friend.
Yeah. Like I'm constantly like, oh my god, like did that person really just do that? Or like, oh my god, did I do that? Seriously? Like I'm saying it internally.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like I'll wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I need to eat a burrito today. Then I'm like, no, you're intermittent fasting. You're not eating a burrito today. Stop it. And that's just kind of how it works in my head. Anyway, I had no idea that some people don't have an inner dialogue. Even my little brother told me. No inner dialogue.
I need to ask Cody, but I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, and he was like, why would I need to?
Yeah, like some people just feel the thing, and it goes directly inside of them, and they don't have to have like a narrator narrating everything.
So lonely. Like
no one, so efficient.
No one agrees with me more than myself. I validate myself.
I thought it was funny too, like reading through the comments, people without an inner narrative were like, wow, that sounds exhausting as fuck. And I was like, that's why we can't sleep at night and we're just constantly on one. But some people don't have an inner narrative, just like some people can't visualize pictures in their brain. I saw another TikTok that was like that. It was like, this lady was saying, I hate it when people say, visualize your happy space. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's no picture. There's no picture. And when she reads books, she doesn't like make up what characters look like in her head. Which
so weird.
Is absolutely insane to me.
I feel like therapy probably wouldn't work for people like that. Like I feel like my therapist always used to say, think about your happy place. Like, could you imagine if you're in therapy and they're like, no, I can't.
That's what she said. She was like, my therapist was like, you need to picture your happy place. And she was like, I don't have a picture. Which is weird because sometimes without a narrative, that's how I will imagine the future is I actually see a picture.
Yeah.
So anyway, point of all of this is we started thinking about like, oh my gosh, well, and it's kind of like love languages. Like you tend to like try to give the love that is your love language, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's your partner's love language. So you have to learn that. So as educators, you know, we're going to try to always automatically teach in the same way that we learn. And this is something that I was thinking like, oh, I kind of learned that the hard way, is I don't have manuals because I don't learn that way. So I'm like, what the fuck? Why would I like print out a manual? Whatever. I have a slideshow. I have a lecture. I don't know why people would need a manual, but...
Well, and it's interesting because I remember we thought about this like months and months ago too. Like before you had this edible like, you know, thought come to your head. Yeah, we were talking about it because we were actually trying to learn something. And I was telling you that I didn't like listening to videos. I needed to see it.
Oh yeah, remember? I was like, listen to this video.
And I literally saw that it was an hour long, no notes, and I'm like... No, I can't.
I send her podcast episodes all the time. I send her little videos all the time. She never listens to them. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I listen to books all the time. Podcasts, books. I'll turn on a YouTube video and I'll just listen to it and do other things. I would rather
like actually read the book. Like I have a Kindle and I'll read books like that. I can't listen to them.
I would actually love to never read again in my whole life.
Wow.
I really don't care to read. If I read articles, I skim through them super fast, get the point, and I would rather listen to something. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the whole point of this situation is, okay, so if you're going to create a training, you have to realize that different people learn in different ways. Right. And Alex has... Basically, there's 4 different types of learners, and she's kind of broken them down. So tell us about the 4 different types of learners.
So there's visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, and reading or writing learners. And they all like kind of sound pretty self-explanatory, but I thought it was interesting because I found ways to like make sure that you're catering to all of the learning types. So like as Ali was saying, like the manuals, but also... actually like writing it out, like having people write it out, read it out loud. Like there's just like, okay, I'll go through them, but yeah.
Go through them in depth for us.
So visual learners are people that learn visually. So they like visual things. So like, for example, for me, like I love reading about the medical medium. Like Ali always sends me stuff. Like, I love, like, the infographics that he, like, makes. Like, I don't like to, like, sit there and watch a video of what he's saying. Like, I like that he breaks it down.
So you like slideshows?
Yes.
With visuals?
Visuals.
And, like, little videos and little animations and charts?
Yep.
Okay.
But I also like to take notes and go back and, like, reread them out loud. Yeah. That's, like, how I, like, learn. So, like, I was telling Ali in college, like, I would... watch the slideshows, write down the notes, and then, like, I would go home and retype them, but I'd have to say it out loud, and I would, like, relearn it.
That is so psycho to me.
Yeah, it was very time-consuming.
Yes. And everyone is kind of a mix of two as well, because even though, like, I'm an auditory learner, I'm also, like, secondary visual learner, because I like to look at stuff, too, and I like to see the slideshows and, like, visualize stuff. Anyway, continue.
So, like, how to cater to someone like me would be passing out, or, like, having the students draw things that you're, like, actually... So, like, Ali has these maps, those map cards. And so, like, if you're explaining something to these students...
It look like little iPads that you put under your client's eye, and then we go and draw the maps together. Anyway.
Yeah. So, if you could, like, have them... So, like, maybe you're saying, this is the doll shape or whatever... then you could, like, show them on your whiteboard and then have them actually write it out. That's, like, a really good way to get visual learners to learn. And something I found really interesting is that visual learners typically need more time to process the material, but, like, once they, like, get it, it's, like, pretty set in stone. Like, you don't really forget it. Yeah. So it just said to make sure that you give them, like, extra time.
Extra time to write stuff down.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I noticed too, is when I finally implemented those little note cards into my training, so I put them in all the kits now, and if you take the training online, it's downloadable. All the cards are, and you follow along with me. But yeah, I've noticed that I've been getting better results from my students since implementing that, because, you know, some people need to actually write it down and copy, you know, and see the maps being drawn out for them to be able to visualize what it's going to look like on their iPads once they get home. So before that, people were just taking notes. I don't feel like they were able to just like pull out their cheat sheet and remember exactly how we did it. So yeah, anyway, since implementing that, I feel like that was a really great way to cater to a different type of learner.
Well, and that makes sense because, like, to your point, they could pull up, like, they could use it as a cheat sheet until they, like, have it down. Like, for me, like, I don't do lashes, so I don't have this experience, but, like, I feel like if I had a map that said exactly, like, where things go, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna, like, use this until I, like, memorize how to do it. I don't know, by myself.
No, that's exactly what I say. Like, in Layer Slayer, I'm like, you don't have to use maps forever, because some people are like, I hate using maps, and it like really freaks them out, like, because they just can't be put in a box.
Yeah.
Totally get it. That's totally fine. If you don't need that, then good. If you can visualize it, then awesome. But for me, I had to map everything, especially with texture, for the first probably like 5 times. And now when I look at an iPad, I literally see it. I see the map on it, and I can like, it just comes out of my brain.
Yeah.
Because I've memorized it, but like I can visualize that. But yeah, it took me probably 4 or 5 times with each map to be able to remember it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. But it did say that, yeah, handouts and using presentations are very helpful for visual learners, like we were just saying. The second one's auditory learners, and they are just students that learn better when it's reinforced with sound. So they'd much rather listen to just a lecture than read written notes. So like I think Allie does a really, like, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but like I feel like you do a really good job without intentionally like catering to all different types of students. Like, 'cause I've sat in some of her classes, and like you lecture, you also have slideshows, you have handouts, like you start the class with like warm-ups, like icebreaker.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like you do a really good job, and you didn't even intentionally.
And that's just from years of trial and error too, because I haven't always run my classes that way, but I do now, because I feel like I've just noticed things that work over time. And that's why I always say, like, I mean, if you want to teach, you just start teaching. Like, you're going to learn what's going to work and what's not going to work, but also go to other people's classes and see what you like and, you know, what you don't like, and try to, I don't know, just gather information that way.
Yeah.
I love it when
build your curriculum.
Yeah, exactly. Like when people tell me they want to educate, and I'm like, okay, well, what classes have you taken? What have you liked? Whatever. And they're just like, oh, well, I've only been to like 1, but it was trash. Like, I hear that so much, and I'm like, what about that makes you think that you could be an expert if you haven't gone to courses and you haven't like seen how everyone does it? How will you pick and choose what you want to do? Like, it's just good to get the experience and to get the knowledge. It's like putting yourself through school. Like, you have to know what the fuck is going on in your field.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's research.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it kind of reminds me of, like, when I taught at a preschool, the teachers always used to say, because we were all young, they used to say, we don't know what we're going to do when we're parents, but we know what we're not going to do when we're parents. Because we would see so many different types of people. I feel like it's kind of like education, like...
Yeah, no, it is, because there's classes that I've gone to where I'm like, I love that they did this. This blows. You know?
Yeah.
And then you just take what you love and you leave the rest.
Well, you can also kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'd be such an observer. Like, if I was in a different class, I feel like I'd like be looking around or like trying to get feedback from other people, like...
Oh, yeah, I totally will do that too. Like, on lunch break, I'm like, so what are you guys loving about this class? Like, asking everybody, like, being creepy.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing it with our class.
I always do that. And with my first classes too, I would have Shay. I had her go to a couple of my classes.
Yeah.
And like, I would just be like, what are the other girls saying? You know, and she would always get the dirt for me, and it was great.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes it easier to teach.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's good feedback.
Yeah. But okay, so auditory learners, they like information reinforced by sound, and they're typically the ones that are raising their hands and like asking things. They're
That's
not
me.
afraid to like speak up verbally and answer questions. And they can be slower at reading things, may often repeat things that the teachers tell them.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that, like, when we were talking about college and how that worked, like, I was the person in class who never took any notes, and I always got good grades. Like, I always did well. Oh my God,
I actually just thought about something. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to forget if I don't tell you.
What?
There were teachers in college where they would be like, you need to be taking notes. Like, you need to pick up your pen and pencil or, like, your computer, and you need to start taking notes. Like, I need to know that you're listening. And it's like, now that we're talking about all these things, that's so fucking wrong. I mean, I'm sure that there are people that were just sitting there like, okay, I'm just here for attendance. Right. But, like, there's people like you where you're like, no, like, I'm literally listening. I'm engaging. I know what you're talking about. I just can't take notes.
No, I've heard that before. Like, I've heard people be like, you need to take notes, like teachers. But usually, like, I feel like they could tell that I was super engaged because I'm, like, fucking in it. Like, I'm staring at them. You know, but no, like, taking notes actually distracts me from learning. Yeah. Because I need to, like, listen. And I love it when people, like, I loved my teachers the most that told me stories about things because I never forget them. Right. Like, I can literally picture where I was, what it looked like, what they were wearing when they told me a certain story about something. Yeah. And, but yeah, like, some people don't need to take notes, and that's why with the manual thing, like, I have all the other things, and I'm like, if you want to take notes, definitely do. And I notice, like, 1 or 2 people in my classes will be, like, taking notes like crazy, but, yeah, I just don't force it, because I've never even thought about it.
Yeah. So. But yeah, basically, the way to, like, cater to an auditory learner like you is to just ask, like, questions, make sure that you're, like, making sure that they are engaged, start group discussions like we were talking about. Like, Allie, I really like that she does that in the beginning because I feel like it makes everyone feel comfortable, no matter what type of learner they are.
I try to get everybody, like, out of their comfort zone, and that's something that I noticed, like, I didn't love about other classes is when they're like, we're going to go around the room, everyone stand up, say where you're from, how many years you've been lashing. And it was awkward, and, like, when it comes to you, you're just like, ugh, like, so what I do is I say, like, everyone stay sitting, and I also sit at the same table as everybody else, because I feel like that kind of just changes the energy of the room. And I ask everyone to go around and kind of tell me, like, their work situation, and then their, like, 3-year goals, like 3 to 5 year goals, like, where do you see your career in a little while? And I feel like those questions, I can actually remember people better if I hear those stories, because I'm like, okay, I know everything about you now. And I'm also, look at that fat ass lizard. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
It's so big.
Oh wow.
Okay, I saw a bigger one the other day, and I forgot to tell you. It was out by the bushes when I parked on the street. It was seriously, like, its body was, like, this big.
I believe you.
Anyway, cool. I love a good lizard sighting. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So that's how I get to know people and how I remember people and, like, place their stories to their names, because I'm really bad with names. But also it gets people to, like, open up, and it makes my class feel more of, like, a group discussion rather than just, like,
you're
me
the teacher
standing at the front. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't like that feeling. Like, I don't like it to be kind of so official. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't
it's not comfy.
I'm like, I want you to feel like you can ask a question if you need to,
or speak up if you have something to say.
Right. And then it creates, like, this nice little community too, and I feel like my students, like, I love it. We all, like, say our Instagram so we can follow each other, but I love it after class when everyone's leaving and they're like, hey, let me grab your number, or like, hey, I'll DM you this. Yeah. And I don't know, I just love that part. And
it's, like, a very comfortable experience. Like, even on our Beauty Educators Blueprint, like, I've noticed, like, everyone's, like, starting to, like, warm up to each other. It's, like, kind of cute. Like, oh, you launched a freebie? That's awesome. Like, I can't wait to go look. And, like, I don't know. It's just really cute.
Well, and that's, like, one of the things that I have taken from going to all these different classes that I've gone to. I'm a really outgoing person, and I will make friends. I will force friends to be friends with me. And I've noticed that not a lot of people are like that. So that's why I like to just break the ice and be like, hey, you guys can all be friends if you want, just so you know. But it's been really good for me to go to these classes and make the connections that I have. Like, me and Ella met at a Lashbox LA class in California. Fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I made her spend the night with me and my friends that night.
Sounds like you.
Exactly. But, like, going to classes is such a great networking opportunity as well that I want to, you know, create that experience for my students as much as possible. Right. And I know not everybody's outgoing and can just do that.
Yeah.
So I just, anyway, I just, like, tried to make that a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
here we go. It's cool.
It's been fun.
And so the third learner is kinesthetic learner, and they're also known as like tactical learners. So they learn through like actually experiencing or doing it. So Allie has these really cool mannequin head dolls.
No, I'll go get one.
And they're designer pro Anna's, and they have like real like hair, right? Is it real hair?
Yeah, it's real hair.
Yeah.
So that the lashes actually fucking stick to them. If you've ever like lashed a mannequin head, you understand. They don't stick to fake lashes. But yeah, so we don't do models in my one-day workshop. So what we do is we get these little mannequin heads and we draw the maps and then we lash them. And they also have layers. I don't know if you can see, but the lashes are layered like real lashes. So, I mean, obviously I talk a bunch about layers in my Layer Slayer workshop, imagine that. And so it's really great to have these because you can really get that visual. And then also I don't have to deal with fucking organizing models because I hate them. Models always bail and it's just a pain in the ass. There's not enough parking spots. Okay. Good morning from California. Hello. So anyway, we have these for our tactical learners so that they can actually
like experience putting it on.
Yeah, they can map on an actual iPad. They can, you know, create a fan, place it. For the texture, they can create an unfan. I feel like that's really important. And I do have practice worksheets too that people can like, that I was using before. And now I kind of use both. We go off the practice worksheets and then we put them on here as like, you know, once you feel comfortable.
Well, I feel like for beginners or maybe even your classes, I don't know what you teach because again, I don't really listen. Like I just like, I mean, I could probably do lashes because I listen and know all about it. But anyway, my point is, you could even teach removal on them. So
yes,
it's really cool.
You can do removals on them.
It's really cool.
That's actually one of the greatest parts about them is it's not a one and done. You don't have to buy another eyeball to pop in there. You can literally put lash remover on there, take them off, and they clean up really nice.
Yeah, so that's a tactical learner, and basically, it was interesting because what I was reading is that they need more breaks because maybe they're just like working so hard on like physically doing it.
Dude, that's something that I've noticed too that I need to be way better about is maybe like put a timer to where I let people work for about an hour.
I was gonna say I think it's an hour and there's like a study done on it.
Let's go, take a walk, get a snack, we're taking a break. Because I notice, I mean, when you're teaching a class, you get a vibe back from people.
Right.
Which is probably why teachers are like, you need to take notes. But no, I notice after a certain amount of time of me talking where people's brains turn off. Yeah. And they just kind of like check out. Yeah. And I'm exactly the same way. So it makes total sense. But working on these too. Yeah. So that's actually a really good idea. I'll be like, okay, now we're going to take a break.
Yeah. Because I feel like you just hit a block. Like we hit a block all the time, like when we're just working here. So I can't imagine someone like physically doing that. Like I would need to stand up and like go get some water.
Well, lash artists have a lot of stamina for sitting and doing tedious work, so that's good. But I have noticed too, I've rearranged the schedule of the way that we do things in class because of that exact thing. Because I felt like it makes more sense if we don't just talk for the first half and then work for the second half. So I kind of like talk about stuff, then we, you know, go through the kits, fan make, and then we talk about the maps, and then we create the maps on these. So we kind of break up those tactical learning times, so that they're not all just in one. And maybe that's why I've hated models in other class when I take models, because it's like all theory one day, and then it feels like it's a little bit of theory the next day, and then model for the whole rest of the day. And then, like, I mean, I can only be with a model for 2-3 hours.
Sounds
and I'm
exhausting.
fucking maxed out.
Yeah.
And especially not being in my own space, like,
Oh, that's so true. I didn't even think about that.
I hate working in other people's spaces. I hate working, like, in just, like, a room with a bunch of beds on a chair that's not mine, on a bed that's not comfortable.
It's like cooking in a kitchen that you've never been in.
It's exactly what it's like.
Except
for you've got to hit a moving target that's microscopic. Like, it's just... So, yeah, that's why I've never liked models or doing models in other classes, but also maybe because it's so draining. It takes so long. Like, I've literally been in a class before where I got done. It was probably like 3 hours and a half in, and I was like, I'm done. And there was like 5 or 6 hours allotted for model time. And my teacher was literally like, no, you're not. You need to go back and take off the bad fans and replace them with perfect fans until we're done. And I was like, no. And I went back and I was like, she's making us stay. And I told my model that. She was my friend, thank God. And she was like, okay, whatever. And I just like put in a podcast and just like listened to my podcast because I was like, done.
Because also, like, I was just thinking about this, like, with the model heads, like, you don't have, like, the energy of, like, someone else. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, you can, like, feel the energy of, like, the person that, like, so I'm sure you can feel
sometimes.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I'm not speaking from experience.
I literally put a towel on people's heads so I could stop touching people because they're so draining.
Yeah.
I also hate when students have their moms come and be their models.
Oh my God, that
happens all the time. But the dynamic between a mom and a daughter, I have no idea what it is, but I'm sure Miss Psychologist, you'll know. The second a mom gets in the room, daughter starts acting like a teenager and mom starts bossing.
Yep.
And it's so fucking annoying. And then they're over there, mom's always like twitching or has the worst lashes. I've never seen a good mom model. Never.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine that.
And then the daughters are like, stop it, mom. Stop. Go to sleep. No, I'm not going to get you food. Like, they're just like, they just turn into mother and teenage daughter.
Yeah, that sounds like
it happens with me and my mom, too.
Same.
It's like, I can't help it.
Same.
But,
whatever.
Yeah. My mom would be the best model ever, though, because she falls asleep in less than a minute.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She just, like, knocked the fuck out, dude. She has really curly lashes like I do. So it's kind of hard. But, no, she just sleeps the whole time.
That's awesome.
Like you.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But yeah, so basically with them, just like act it out, like have them actually do it. And once they're able to physically sense what they're doing, then the difficult concepts become a lot easier for them to understand. And then the last learning type, wow, words are hard today, reading and writing learners. So these are like the easiest to cater to. Wow.
Did you eat weed for breakfast?
I sound like it. Last night I did, so maybe it's still
it's still in her body.
But basically, so this is like the easiest. This is the way that like people naturally teach, because this is how we were taught all our lives, like whether or not it worked for us. So like reading.
Maybe this is why I hated school.
Probably.
And I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I hate it.
Because teachers literally are only taught to teach one way. And that's reading and writing. Because we have essays. You have to read out loud. Like there's kids like, if I had to read out loud, oh my God, I sound like I'm dyslexic. Like if I'm reading something to Cody, he's like, please just give it to me. I can't, because I'm pausing and it's like uncomfortable for me.
I don't like it either.
I hate it. And you know why I hate it? Oh my God, you know why I hate it? Just a little side note really quick. I was reading out loud in 6th grade and in class. And it was my part, and we did this thing, and we would have to go around. Each kid would have to read a part. It was like a paragraph. And I get to mine, and it's in history. And I go, George Washington was born a virgin. But it was George Washington was born in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that I said George Washington was born in Virgin. And I'm like speaking and everyone's
you weren't
laughing.
Wrong.
And I'm like looking around and everyone's laughing at me and I'm like,
you didn't know that you did it? Aww.
And my teacher was like,
sad.
Yes, George Washington was born a virgin. And I'm like, that's not what I said. I said George Washington was born in Virginia. And they were like, everyone was just dying laughing, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so mortified. Because, like, 6th grade is already so awkward.
Dude, I'm so lucky. I was homeschooled up until the very last few months of 8th grade. I completely skipped middle school. I just fucked around. Like, I just did whatever I wanted.
Yeah. Middle school is weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird time for people.
Sometimes, like, I wish that homeschooling my kid wouldn't require me to be there because... Yeah. Because I actually really did love being homeschooled. I was allowed to learn any way that I needed to because I taught myself. So we would get books in the mail. This is pre-internet, guys. So we would get books in the mail and I would just have to do stuff. Like I'd have to read and write and whatever and then send shit back for like the whole quarter. And I would get the whole quarter done within couple weeks and I would just send that shit back and I would do nothing for the whole rest of the time. My mom would literally take us on like the longest road trips too. Like we did one all the way across the United States, God. All the way back, all in her Volkswagen Bug. And we had a van for a while. Anyway, we did it in the Bug too. But she would seriously be like, okay, we're gonna go do this. So if you want to get your work done, good. If not, you can do it in the car. And I like never wanted to do it in the car. I was like, nope, I'm sleeping the whole time. So I would just do all my work. Me and my brother both did it. And both of us turned out fine. He's a nurse. I'm okay. I own a business.
Yeah.
I have one employee. Anyway.
Yeah, but basically, we were just taught reading and writing. So reading and then doing research and writing essays. And so that's basically the easiest type of student to cater to.
And that's you.
Yeah.
And you're so good at that. Like
yeah.
When I give you a project, you literally research it all. You like write a whole report on it and then it's done.
Mm-hmm. Like it was so funny. Yesterday, Allie found this new app and she listened to the video for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, the instructional
and
video.
And then just started it and I was like literally cringing inside because I'm like, there's so much she doesn't know. Like, you could.
And I'm like,
so
I'll figure it out.
And I'm like,
I'm like, Alex, how do you do this? She's like, I already looked it up.
I'm like, you can't do that.
She's like, if you would have just listened to the instructional video.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'll figure it out.
It stresses me out. I mean, like, sometimes I will do that, but, like, not with this stuff. I like, Google the shit out of it.
I made a stop motion video, did I not?
Yeah, and it looked great.
We did it together.
Yep. Yeah.
See? The thing got done.
Yeah.
It was a little bit messy, but it got done.
Yeah.
So anyway, to like wrap this all into the moral of the story, if you want to be a teacher, you want to be a trainer or, you know, an educator in lashes, hair, nails, aesthetics, laser, whatever the fuck you want to teach, business coaching even, you have to make sure that you are supplementing your classes with these different things that can help different types of learners retain the information that you're giving them. Because, I mean, obviously the best referral is somebody doing a great job after your class.
Right.
And if they can trace it back to your class and be like, that's what made it click, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like them talking about it online, telling their friends, whatever. I can't tell you how many students I've gotten because their friend took my class. And instead of them being like, let me just teach you what I learned in the class, they've literally been like, no, you should go because the experience. And the classes that I've taken that are really amazing like that, like Eyelash Stina, back when she was teaching her editing course, people were like, oh my god, how was it? And I was like, honestly, it was amazing, and I can't even sit here and tell you everything. Like, you should just go to that class.
Yeah.
Same with the Maven Artistry course, like, changed my life.
I feel like I hear so many positive things about that.
It's because she really breaks it down in a way that, like, even though, so you take a photo of somebody's face, you literally measure stuff out with a ruler, and then you come up with formulas to create balance in their face.
It's like the face, isn't it called like the face structure?
It's face studies.
Face studies, okay.
And it's cool because like someone like me, like I'm not going to measure out every single time, but because I've done it, she forced us to do it as many times as we did in class. I visualize that with everybody now.
Yeah.
And so even just like looking at you, I know exactly what map I would put on you to balance your face out. And I don't necessarily lash that way, but it's so good to know for shaping.
Yeah.
And it taught me more than just balancing. It taught me how to create illusions that, you know, I don't know, will do different illusions, I guess. It'll create a different look on different people. So even though I'm not constantly going for balance, which is what she teaches, I constantly am shaping people according to their own unique facial structures.
Yeah.
And
those are some of my favorite things that like come up on my For You, or not For You page, but like the whatever page, the discovery page or whatever on Instagram. Like when people, I know Kaylee's done it a couple times, but like she'll like do like half of like one eye a certain shape and then the other eye a certain shape, and it's like which shape looks best, and it's like everyone has a different opinion. But I don't know, it's really cool to like see different shapes. Or Jenny did a shorter length on me, and then we went out to dinner or whatever, and she was like, oh my god, I don't know why I did that. I like them I like her eyelids covered so much more.
Oh my
god.
I
need to go longer or whatever. And so we were laughing because it was just like, why are we talking about this at like wherever? But I don't know, so it's just so interesting.
Just what you do.
Yeah.
Well, and Jenny and I are really similar that way, the way that we're like visual. Like we understand shaping. Like we can feel it in our bones, the shaping. So if it's off, it's like, it's just irritating.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing bothers me more than when my client opens their eye and they have one fan that's standing above all the other fans. Ugh, death. I'm like, lay down, we're taking it off. Like I cannot handle that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that went on a tangent.
Yeah,
so basically moral of the story is you need to be adding these supplements to your class, and think about the structure of your class and, you know, the way that you are offering the information. So for example, I took a class one time and it was on something that wasn't lashes. It was on a different subject, and she was talking about stuff. She was going over theory and talking about the machine that we were going to use, and I had never seen the machine. And even though the kit was right in front of me, I didn't understand what anything was. So it would have been nice for me if she would have explained everything and all of the shit in the kit before talking about it, because all during theory, I was just lost. I was like, okay, I guess this will click when we talk about what's in the kit. And it did kind of, but it would have been so much better if I could have gotten, you know, the explanation of what's in the kit first, and then some theory, and then some practice, and then some theory, you know, and just creating the structure that way. So just
so weird.
that in mind.
I was just thinking about, like, it's kind of like working out. Like, when I worked out with, like, a trainer, it was so frustrating because I never knew what the fuck they were talking about. And then when I went to Pilates, I caught on so fast because they explained it so well the first time.
Well, and they keep explaining it.
The entire time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a
yesterday.
pro. Like, I know everything now because they constantly explained it, and it's like, you look forward to it. But when you're not understanding something and people are just, like, expecting you to get it. It was like when Mike and I were, like, talking about RDLs yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's like things like that when you, like, go to a trainer or whatever, you're like, I don't know how to do this, and you're mad at me because I don't know how. Can you please just keep explaining it?
One time I hired a trainer online, kind of. She didn't live here, and she sent me a program, and I was like, okay, because it was like that. It was a chart. It was like 3 RDLs and, like, no picture. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I need IKEA instructions for this. I literally don't understand.
Yeah.
She told me, that's where Google's gonna come in handy. And I was like,
can I have a refund?
Okay. And I literally, like, never talked to her again because I was like, that's what the fuck you're here for. Like, show me, motherfucker. Send me videos. And then eventually I did notice she started posting videos on her Instagram of each of the moves, because I'm like, most beginners don't know this.
Right.
Like, I'm the most uncoordinated person in the whole world, which you'll know if you watched our video that we made yesterday.
It was so funny.
But, like, you can't just expect people to know what you're talking about. You have to give the information in so many different ways because you never know how they're going to be receiving that information.
Right.
So some other things that we've been talking about putting your classes online lately. Our class, obviously, it includes all that. So some other things that you can do, I always recommend like showing your face, but also having a slideshow. So people can like either focus in on you talking or they can look at the visuals. We also have worksheets and downloads so people can download stuff and they actually have like little assignments where they have to write stuff out.
Yeah.
And then we make it so that like you can actually just put it on Canva and type it if you don't want to write stuff. But some people like downloading that shit, printing it out.
That's what I would do.
I would never. I would look at it and I'd be like, that's cute. And then I would probably like keep notes.
Maybe that's why we work so well together.
I think so. Yeah.
But I was going to say, I feel like since classes are becoming online and stuff, I feel like it's even more important to like understand that there's different types of learners. Like now my wheels are spinning and I'm like, maybe I record things differently and like, I don't know, just like there's like a couple different types of videos based off of the way that you learn best. I don't know. Now my wheels are like,
well, that's why. So with online, for a while, I was like, well, okay, so you have the video. This is what our class looks like. Video, and then there's notes underneath, and then there's downloads over here. So for a minute, I was like, we don't even need to write notes. People are watching these videos, and they're going to take their own notes. No, wrong. We do need to write notes. So you need to put up your presentation, show your face, and talk. I think in my Layer Slayer, I only show my face in the beginning and the end. During the whole slideshow, I don't show my face, which maybe I'll change. And then put the notes so people can read through it too for people that need to read it. So they can read and see if that's even a section that they need to like really pay attention to or listen to or whatever.
I need to finish my notes.
And then also keeping in mind that we are not doing videos that are too long.
Yeah.
We try to break them down into smaller videos.
Yeah.
So that,
like I said, when I was trying to watch a video somewhere else and I saw it was an hour, I'm like, Allie, like my ADD brain can't handle that. Like, even if it's really engaging, like, so we tried just like breaking it up into smaller sections so that no one saw that and felt overwhelmed like me.
Yeah, just so that like when you go into a video, you know exactly what subject you're going to talk about. So for example, like we have a whole branding section, okay? So like I could have put that all into like a 3-hour video because it's a 3-hour slideshow. But what I did is I broke it up. I was like visualization exercise. What do I call that? Like the mood board.
Yeah.
Branding kit. And I broke these all down into each sections, videos. And then I would be like, how to integrate this into your website, how to break this up and put it into your social media, how to use this here. But I think there's like 8 or 9 videos and just in the branding section alone. And they're each like
shorter.
Yeah, like 20 something minutes. So that, yeah, just so that, and also I think that that's really good organization wise, so that when students come back and they're looking for something specific, they know exactly where to go to get it. And they're not like, which video was that?
I have to watch that whole video and like skim through. It's like so frustrating.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just keeping that in mind. When you're creating a course, you really do need to make sure that the information sticks.
That you're catering to a bunch of different types of people.
Yeah, and you're creating an experience that they'll remember. And like you don't want just some of your auditory and visual learners to remember and everyone else is just fucked. You want everyone to remember the experience and remember like, oh, that was actually good. I retained the information, because then they're more likely to repeat it in their own classes or when they teach other people stuff.
Yeah.
Which just means that your training is literally helping shape the world of lashes, which I love.
That's exciting.
And they're going to remember it and they're going to share with their friends, like, you need to go to this class because it was such a great experience.
Yeah.
The end, that's my spiel.
I think we got some questions.
Okay, let's see.
I don't know. I think that they might have been up more too.
Sorry, I know we're doing this sideways, but it's for YouTube. How do you go about actually pricing yourself for a course, because everyone is so all over the board for prices for a course? So I actually did like a huge breakdown of pricing in the Beauty Educator's Blueprint.
I watched it.
You did? Mm-hmm. Oh, was that when you were doing notes?
Yeah. No, it was good though.
Yeah, well,
because I always wondered the same thing.
It's like, it's hard. That would be hard to answer in just like a short amount of time, but it really depends on how many days, how much content is there. You know, if it's online, if it's not online, it really just completely depends. Yeah, if the kit is involved, if it's not involved, if they can choose.
Maybe that's a section that you should break off of.
Do a little freebie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe I should do a freebie with that, because
I feel like that's a really good question and a very commonly asked question.
Yeah, it is a commonly asked question because online courses are so brand new. Mm-hmm. It's hard to know if you are underpricing yourself or if you're overpricing.
Well, yeah, and like also, how do you know if your freebie like should be free or if you should charge for it? I don't know. There's like a lot of, it's like a very heavy question.
Yeah, that's like a whole episode. We'll definitely.
That's actually a good question.
We should do a whole episode about that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We actually did have some questions. Wait, what's happening? Do you think the notes can be replaced with a manual? My journey personally. Yeah, definitely. Like, my personal thing is that I would rather create some sort of like a worksheet or a workbook.
I was gonna say, as a manual, you could just have it like as a manual,
but you can create a manual. There's nothing wrong with it. I just personally don't want to.
And then maybe there's like papers for your notes.
Yeah.
So it's like a twofer.
Yeah.
Like a manual notebook.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like putting my class online in the first place. That's how I will forever do it now. Mm-hmm. Put it online so that people can go home and still have the manual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your whole course is your manual at that point.
Exactly. Like, go back and watch it. Yeah. Read the notes that I've put in, but also your own notes. But yeah, I think it's up to you whether you want to have a manual or not. The reason why I don't like it is because I change my information all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. I'm like constantly updating it. So it's easier if it's online just to switch it out that way. And I don't want to have to just like reprint. Yeah, things are constantly changing. I'm reordering my class, all the time, however I see fit. So yeah. We did have questions from my story, but for some reason they're like not on here, which is weird, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, or maybe that's normal.
No, they should be on here. I took screenshots of them, but fuck, let me see if I can remember. I'm so annoyed. They should.
I know. I wish you would have sent them to me. Did you?
No.
My friend said nice tits. She must have been on it.
Rude. If I pop out of here and come back, will I lose everything? Wait. Oh, dang it. That blows.
Well, we could always just, like, do another video answering those questions after this or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can put them on my stories. Yeah. That's what we can do.
Yeah.
And then I can record it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that next. Anyway, okay, so this has been great.
Yeah, I actually feel like I was like really disappointed when we didn't record it because I was like, I felt so confident in the last live Q&A.
I know, I was like, this is really good information that like, this could even be a freebie. Yeah. Actually, like we could make this into a little workshop because I think it is something really important, like especially in our industry where people are not really talking about or teaching others how to become teachers. It's like you really do need to know strategies for teaching. Mm-hmm. Like you can't just like you could be a great lash artist and suck at teaching it. Mm-hmm. Like I definitely feel like that was me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But over time, I've had to learn trial and error and through research how to become a better teacher. And I feel like it's gotten better. But like, yeah, this is stuff we should be discussing if we want to make our whole industry better. So she's saying, no, I could jump over to my picture and it'll just pause it. All right, I'm going to jump over to my pictures then. Hold on one sec. Hi, we're back.
I didn't know you could do that.
I know. That's nice. Cool. So one of the questions that I definitely wanted to answer, somebody asked if when they are pivoting into teaching, if they should create a different Instagram. And my personal answer to that would be no. Like, if you really want to move into teaching, I think that that is something that you should take all of your followers on that journey with you.
Yeah.
The only way that I would say yes, create a separate one is if you own a salon and you have a salon Instagram and then you have your own personal training Instagram. But if your salon is known for training, then I would keep it together. So it really does kind of depend on your situation. But I wouldn't do that. If anything, I would keep the Instagram and make it all about like my training and my work.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, something I learned from you, because I like help run another company's Instagram account, and so something that like has always stuck out to me that you taught me, maybe you didn't even mean to, but was like getting yourself on a schedule with posts. And so like you know, like this is like a lash company, and so, you know, we have like product days, we have where we like, you know, show other people's work when they like use our products. There's like a tip day, an educational day. So like there's ways to still incorporate your product and your personal Instagram all in one.
Yeah.
And your education in one.
You can do it together.
Yeah.
But like I said, I would split it off.
Yeah.
If I owned a salon and I was helping promote my other girls.
Yeah.
I would split it off and create a personal Instagram for the salon, not for training though. I would keep that all together and just put it into one of your categories. Like I always say, like if you're planning on doing an Instagram overhaul, which I think everybody should and get organized with, you should come up with, 5 to 7 categories of things that you post and assign them to a day. So that you are making sure that you're posting your work, you're posting your trainings, you're posting yourself, you're posting funny stuff. I think that's really important, by the way. My funny stuff always kills it.
Oh yeah, it does.
And it gets your brand out there. Visibility is credibility. If you are seen and known, people believe that you're legit. And that's how the world works. It's not right or wrong. It's just how it is. So yeah, just getting your shit out there any way possible. So if you're, if you're promoting training, I think that you can promote one thing one day, promote something else the next day, and it's not going to affect your audience. The right people will see it and will care. Yeah. If they don't care, like when people post their lash work now, I'm like, that's gorgeous if it's my product. If it's not, and I just like, I don't know, sometimes I just don't care. I'm like, scroll, but if they were talking about training, I would be like reading it. Yeah. So I don't know, post whatever and the right people will see it. Yeah.
There's a question above too.
Okay, we'll look through here. Should you be lashing a certain amount of time or have a certain amount of followers to start training or retail? I love this question because it gets asked a lot as well. I personally don't believe that there is a specific time for anybody. And the reason why I say this is because people will say like, oh, well, you should have 1 to 3 years experience before XYZ. What the fuck ever. This industry is literally like 15 years old. That is a teenager, okay? Nobody knows what the fuck we're doing until we just start doing it. So I would suggest, perfecting your craft as much as possible because you want to be able to, ask questions that your students are going to ask. So if you're a brand new lash artist and you don't have a full clientele, and then you have a student asking you, how do I get a full clientele? I mean, clearly you don't know the answer because you're not living it. So I would of course, get to a point where you feel like you can answer all the questions and you're comfortable, but it's going to be different for everybody, because what if you lash 5-6 days a week, 6 to 8 hour days, and then somebody else lashes 2 days a week, part-time? I mean, your 1 year of experience is going to be this, where their 1 year of experience is going to be this. So there's no right or wrong answer. Honestly, if you're feeling it, if people are asking you for it and you want to look into it, then look into it. Just start now. Start building that audience now too, before you feel ready. I don't think that your audience has to be any size. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how many followers you have. And same with retail. Start now. Retail is different. It's a whole other animal. If that's something you love, you want to get into, that's a whole nother ballgame. How long is too long for a training? 2 to 4 days. Also, no right or wrong answer on this one. I think it really depends. If it's beginner training, I think the more days, the better for everybody. But if it is an advanced training, in my opinion, I prefer 1 day classes. But that's not to say that
everyone does.
Yeah, it's different for everybody. And don't worry about creating a class that everybody will want to take and everyone's going to love the price and everyone's going to love how long it is. That's just not how the world works. The right people will like it. When I switched to doing a workshop, so many people were like, oh, well, I really wish that you still did models. And I'm like, oh, sorry, go to somebody else's class. But I still fill up my classes with people that are like, I love that this is 1 day. We don't have to do models. We can work on these doll heads. This makes me feel so much more comfortable, so you're not going to be able to please everybody when you price your stuff, when you choose how long your course is. So just don't try to please everybody. That's never the way to go. If you try to please everybody, you'll please nobody. Let's see.
I didn't know they had that feature.
I know, it's fun. How do you gain students that are not on the gram? I don't want to rely on Instagram for finding potential students. That's actually a really good question. I mean,
you can run ads, Google ads, Facebook ads.
Yeah, I know. Miss Marketing over here is going to tell you to run ads. I was just going to say...
Send out to your email list.
I was going to say start building your email list. Call the schools around you. Ask if you can go in and give a demo or a presentation of what you offer. If I was you, and I know exactly who you are and what your class is because we've had a coaching call before, I would call the schools and I'd be like, hey, I have a line and it, is mainly pre-mades, and I would love to come talk to your students about how to use pre-mades properly if you're interested in that. I bet all of the schools will tell you yes, because they're always looking for people that'll come give demos for free and give out good information to their students. So if you did that, you went in and you were like, here's this demo, let me talk to you about pre-mades. And you give them a little presentation of what your class is going to be like, and then you give them some sort of a hookup, student discount. You're going to get so many people that will sign up for your class. Maybe it takes a year until everybody's out of school and they have the money to come to your class. But once that starts happening, you're going to start getting referrals from all of those students, and it's just going to snowball. So I think that would be one of the best ways to do that. And maybe even offering discounts to salons that have multiple lash artists in the area. I think that you could go in and just be like, hey, here's my card or a flyer, and I'm offering a locals only discount. Here you go. And then price your class accordingly so that you still make the amount of money that you need to off of your course. Oh, she says I'm working with Business Warrior. We love Business Warrior. You're welcome. I think we answered that question. What was the other one that... Oh, somebody asked in the questions when I went back and I looked in my pictures. somebody asked how to get started in the beginning, like setting up their business, especially for training. You're going to want to make sure that you have all of your shit straight when it comes to like taxes and shit like that. So, just right off the bat, the basics: get your business license, get your state business license, and set up a separate bank account ASAP. A business bank account, and if you can, a business credit card, because if you can put everything on a credit card and pay that off every month, don't forget that most important part of it, pay it off every month. Don't fucking get into debt with your business, but you're going to create good credit for your business so that later on, if you need any type of loan or whatever, you can get it. Like my husband literally just bought a truck with our business, which was awesome for us because that saved us lots of money. So yeah, start that separately. And if you are training, this is one little tip that I'll just throw out there. If you ever pay a host or anybody like that over $600 in a calendar year, you're going to need to W-9 them. So just Google what is a W-9, and it's just a paper, whatever. But yeah, set up a separate business account, get your business licenses in order, and you're going to start paying your taxes quarterly because you're a big girl. What was the other question? I feel like there was one more that I really wanted to answer.
Something about putting something online.
Oh, she said she was talking about putting all of your information online for your in-person classes. Mm-hmm. And yes, I think that's an amazing idea.
Didn't it save you? When was that? You were like, someone asked you something and you were like, oh, you had a class and your slideshow wasn't working. And you were like, oh my God, I have all of this online.
Yeah, so this question was, can I put all of the information online to teach my live class? The answer is abso-fucking-lutely. My last class that I taught, I actually kind of had like a cough too, and I didn't feel like talking that much, so it was great. But the night before, I noticed that all of my slideshows were broken. Thank you, Microsoft, motherfuckers. I will never use PowerPoint again. And all of my slideshows were gone. And they're not recoverable. I tried very hard, but I was tripping out.
Really? For real? They're gone?
They're fucking gone. I'm going to show it to you so that maybe you can fix it, but I tried everything.
I feel like a dick for laughing. Sorry.
It's fine. But anyway, my ass was saved because I was like, holy shit, I have this whole class online. So what I did is I just pulled up the video online, put it on the TV, and I just like scrubbed it to each slide where I needed to talk about it. And it was great. And then there were certain sections where I was better explaining it on the video than I was in person. So I just played these little videos for them. So like the fan making section and then the section where I talk about transitions and curls, I just played the video.
That's awesome.
And I sat there and listened to myself, which is awkward, but you know, it's just all part of it. So yeah, those were all really good questions.
Yeah.
I really think that everyone in the industry is, I'm in my mind somewhere, but we're like really missing the boat on reaching out to schools and students, because that's
a really good idea.
If people know about your brand first when they first get in the industry and you offer them a valuable piece of information that sticks with them, that's where that like R&R is going to come from, the like repeating and the remembering. They're going to remember you forever. And then they're going to repeat to other people the thing that you helped them out with. And that's where you get fucking referrals. Mm-hmm. Remember, repeat, refer. That's what you want every student and client to do. Yep. I actually learned that because of a public speaking podcast I was listening to. They were like, if you can tell a story that people can remember, they'll repeat it and they'll refer people to you. And I was like,
when I hear the 3 R's, I think of reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Sorry. We do recycle.
Here, not home. Sorry.
Yeah, you're hilarious. You forget at home?
Oh, yeah. Cody was like, I was like, why'd you only put the trash can out? He's like, you didn't recycle while I was gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I just totally forgot. I just forget. It's him.
Vike is like, yeah, Vike's like, this is the recycle trash can.
I always forget.
It's kind of easy for me to remember now. I don't know.
Maybe it'll come to me one day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because you've never learned, like, directions.
You're right. I have not.
Some people don't have a sense of direction, just like some people don't have a narrative going on in their head all the time.
I do have that, so I just don't know where I'm going. I don't know where north, south, east, or west is.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I've lived here all my life. I was actually telling someone about this last night. I was like, I've lived here all my life, and I could not tell you. Like, I know I live north.
Could you point north to me right now? Which direction do you live from here?
That way?
That's north.
Oh. That way.
Oh my god, it kills me every time. I don't know, there's something in me, and it's in Cash too, I've noticed. Because he'll be like, which way are we going, Mommy? And I'll be like, we're going, like, that way. And he's like, okay, so we're going to Phoenix. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, Cody will be like, what
South.
did you used to say? Like, when you know, like, when you're looking at Google Maps, and it's like, turn right onto the 101.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, turn right onto the 101. He's like, yeah, but which way? Like, east or west? And I'm like, I don't know, fucking right. Go right on the freeway. And he's like, yeah, but which? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see when we get up to the sign. It'll tell you.
Blows my mind.
I know.
Does it not say it on the GPS? Like 101S?
I think sometimes, but like not till you get closer or something.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, just go right onto the freeway. And he's like, which way?
He's like, I will kill you. Mm-hmm. It gets confusing down at, like, by, like, the Phoenix, Mesa, Gilbert interchange. You gotta know what the fuck you're doing.
I use Google Maps for everything.
Thank God that exists for you now.
I know.
All right, well, that was, like, a really fun time.
I know, every time we do this, well, this is the second time, but, like, I'm like, oh, we should do these more.
We really should do these more. We really should be doing these, like, twice a week if we were gonna, like, get serious about our podcast or anything.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We should create the schedule. Okay. When we have a schedule, we'll post it.
Yeah. Eventually.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for showing up today if you did. And I'm going to save this. And like I said, we're going to put it on our podcast. And YouTube, we're going to start doing that because we're so gorgeous. Like, why wouldn't we just share it with the whole world? Yeah. We're going to go find tacos and wallpaper the whole rest of the day. All right. So anyway, bye.
Bye.
How do I end this bitch?